Okay, let's unpack this. The buzz around one of football's hottest strikers, Victor Osimhen, it's reached a fever pitch, really. And the latest news has a genuinely surprising twist. We're diving deep into Victor Osimhen today, the Super Eagles striker, and these high-stakes negotiations swirling around his future.
That's right. And for this deep dive, our mission, essentially, is to pull together insights from a few key places. This Day Live, Daily Post Nigeria, and the Manchester Evening News. We want to give you the full picture, break down the financials, try to understand the players' thinking, and look at what this move means for everyone involved. Basically a shortcut so you're completely clued in.
And what immediately jumps out from looking at these sources is just the sheer determination of one particular club here. Who are we talking about and what's making them push so hard?
Well, we're talking about Galatasaray, the reigning Turkish Super League champions. This daily is reporting they are, and this is their phrase, closer than ever to getting Osimhen permanently. They've reportedly agreed to pay that full $75 million release clause in his Napoli contract.
$75 million, wow.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is how firm Napoli have been. They knocked back earlier offers. There was an initial $50 million plus maybe $5 million in add-ons, rejected.
Right.
Then a $60 million bid came in, rejected again. They've just been saying, nope, pay the clause, holding absolutely firm.
So Napoli basically saying, look, this is the price, take it or leave it, no discounts. But, okay, the financials always have a wrinkle, don't they? This daily says Galatasaray is ready to spread that $75 million over 3 years, like $25 million a year.
That's what this daily suggests, a 3-year plan.
But is Napoli, known for being tough negotiators, likely to accept that, a staggered payment for such a massive transfer?
Well, that's where it gets even more interesting, and it's a really crucial point. Because while Thizdalive mentions 3 years, the Manchester Evening News adds another layer. They say Galatasaray might be looking to pay it across 5 installments.
5, okay.
Yeah. And look, this kind of multi-year payment plan, it's not just about immediate cash flow for Galatasaray. It's pretty common in these huge deals, especially with release clauses. Helps clubs manage, financial fair play rules, spreads the impact.
Right, makes it more manageable.
Exactly. Makes deals that seem impossible, possible. But the big question is, will Napoli bite? Will they accept this longer schedule or demand the cash sooner?
And it sounds like Galatasaray means business. Their vice president, Abdullah Kavuku, he's apparently heading to Italy, right now, for face-to-face talks.
That's the report. And there's talk of local sponsors stepping up to back the financial package, too. So real commitment there.
Okay, so Galatasaray is clearly all in. But what about the man himself, Osimhen? Why Galatasaray? What swung it for him? Daily Post Nigeria says he's already agreed personal terms, a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
That's the real curveball, isn't it? I mean, he's been linked with some massive European clubs. Why Turkey? What's the main driver, according to the sources?
It absolutely is a curveball. And the reason is pretty surprising, actually. This Day Live reports he turned down, get this, a jaw-dropping $160 million total offer from Al-Hilal in Saudi Arabia.
$160 million. Over 4 years, so $40 million a year.
Exactly. 40 million euros a year. And he said no.
Wow.
And his decision, choosing Champions League football over that kind of, frankly, staggering money, it says a lot. It suggests that, for some top players, the sporting ambition, playing at the highest level in Europe, it still outweighs the pure financial pull.
Even with the Saudi league spending like crazy.
Right. It kind of challenges that idea that money is always the deciding factor in football these days.
So the Champions League lure was that strong. This Day Live confirms that his main reason for turning down that huge Saudi offer was the desire to play in the UEFA Champions League. And Galatasaray, as Turkish champions, they can offer that. Daily Post Nigeria also adds he was convinced by the project Galatasaray are building. So ambition and the project.
Yeah, and looking at the personal deal with Galatasaray, this Day Live gives some figures. An annual salary around $15 million, plus a $10 million signing bonus. It also mentions a reported acceptance of a $16 million annual salary elsewhere. So still very good money, obviously, but nowhere near the Saudi figures.
No kidding. And crucially, this isn't him going somewhere totally new. It's a return, right? A move back to Istanbul.
Exactly. Both Daily Post Nigeria and the Manchester Evening News confirm he spent last season on loan at Galatasaray.
Oh, right. I remember now.
And he was incredible for them. Scored, 37 goals in 41 games. Helped them win the league and cup double.
So he knows the club, knows the league, had massive success there. Makes a lot more sense now. He's going back to a place where he thrived.
Precisely. A familiar winning environment.
Okay, so this whole thing, it naturally makes you wonder about the Premier League links. We heard his name mentioned with Manchester United, Liverpool for ages. What do the sources say about their involvement or maybe lack of involvement now?
Well, that's another fascinating angle. This Daily points out that neither United nor Liverpool actually made a formal offer this summer.
No official bid at all.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
And that, that hesitation or lack of a concrete move, it basically opened the door wide for Galatasaray to step in and take charge, which they clearly have.
And the Manchester Evening News digs into Man United's situation a bit more. They suggest United are struggling to afford that $75 million release clause, especially after spending big already.
Yeah, that seems to be the issue. They point to the Matheus Cunha signing that was $62.5 million, and there's talk of a potential $65 million move for Bryan Mbeumo as well. So the funds might just not be there for another huge outlay like Osimhen.
Right, plus they might be missing out on other strikers too, like Victor Gyökeres potentially going to Arsenal.
That's another name mentioned, yeah. So it really highlights the financial juggling act clubs like United face, even when a top target like Osimhen seems available. You can't buy everyone.
True, and as if all this wasn't dramatic enough, there's a serious deadline looming, isn't there? A ticking clock.
There absolutely is. This Live flags it up Napoli's preseason training camp. It starts just a week from today. July 10th.
Okay, 1 week.
And critically, that same day, July 10th, is apparently when Osimhen's release clause expires.
Ah, so the clause itself runs out then.
That's the crucial link. It means Galatasaray and Napoli have this very, very tight window, basically, this week to get everything finalized. Because after that deadline passes, Napoli isn't bound by the $75 million anymore. They regain full control over the price.
So they could ask for more. Or just refuse to sell.
Potentially, yes. They'd have all the leverage. It puts immense pressure on these final talks happening right now. They need to nail it down fast.
Wow. Okay. And if they do get it over the line, this Day Live suggests this could be huge for Turkish football.
Yeah, they're saying it's poised to become one of the biggest transfers in Turkish football history. Mm-hmm. And it seems clear Galatasaray sees him as the centerpiece for their Champions League campaign next season, building around him.
What a story. So we've really dug into this compelling transfer saga of Victor Osimhen. Quite the journey. Mm-hmm. From Galatasaray's relentless pursuit, meeting that big release clause, to Osimhen's really surprising choice, prioritizing top-level European football over, well, an unbelievable amount of money from Saudi Arabia. And then seeing the Premier League suitors kind of fade into the background. It's got a lot of layers, this one.
It really does. And it brings up, I think, an important question for you listening in. In this era where we talk so much about financial incentives dominating football, what does Osimhen's decision tell us? Prioritizing sporting ambition, going back to a place he knows he can win. Does it show something shifting, or is it just an outlier?
Yeah.
Are values changing in elite football, or is money still king for most? Something to definitely think about as this deadline gets closer.
A really fascinating glimpse into the mechanics and the motivations behind football's biggest transfers. We hope you've gained some valuable insights from this deep dive.
Yeah, hope it was useful.
And we look forward to unpacking more sources for you again very soon.